Have you ever used the words immigrant and migrant interchangeably? You're not alone. But did you know that they actually mean different things? They're two different words. Understanding this difference can change the way we talk about these two words. We need to change, how we talk about, immigration policies. We change how we talk about human rights and even your own migration status. So stick around because today I'm breaking it down in a way that you would never ever forget the difference between the word migrant and immigration. Hi, my name is Adako. I'm a first class law graduate, the founder of ACN Legal Admin Services. I'm also the author of two books. Yes. One of my book is called A Late Bloomer's Law Degree Journey in the UK. It's on Amazon. The link is in the description. The book just talks about, my personal story of returning to the university as a mature student, how I navigated the challenges, my wins, proving that it's never too late to achieve your dreams. My second book is a journal. It's called Dear Mom, Your Story Matters. So it's a journal that is dedicated to helping mothers document their stories, their struggles, and their wisdom, because every mother's journey deserves to be remembered. So, and it's also on Amazon. I'm also a Mackenzie friend. I act as a Mackenzie friend. So a Mackenzie friend is, if you don't know what that is in the UK, a Mackenzie friend is someone who assists those who are not able to afford a solicitor, or those who are not eligible for legal aid in the UK. So what I do is I guide them through the case documentation, legal drafting, legal writing, court forms. I offer legal support, not advice, legal support. I take down notes with them in court. I support them emotionally in court. Doing so, this support is during the court hearing and also throughout the duration of the court process for a fee. Yes, for a fee. So I'm also passionate about helping mature students, especially late bloomers. Mature students and late bloomers, really, especially those going back to university to study law, especially those going to study law. And this channel is also for if you think, that you're too old to start all over again. Trust me, you're not too old to start all over again. I'm here to show you that success is possible at any stage of life. And if you also are interested in my content, please stick around. In this video today, I'm going to be breaking down the difference between immigrants and migrants. I'll be breaking it down using real life examples. I'll be breaking it down using global statistics. I'll be breaking it down using historical insights. So in today's video, we're going to explore the real difference between immigrants and a migrant, because we always confuse these two words together, but they mean different things. I'm going to also use real life examples. I'm going to use, laws of different countries. I'm going to also give us a quiz at the end to test our knowledge, about the difference. So I'm certain that by the time I'm done with this video, you would never confuse these terms again. So let's get into it. You would ask, what is the difference between immigrants and migrants? I'm going to start with the definition and examples of a migrant. So, what is a migrant? A migrant, or who is a migrant rather? A migrant is anyone who moves from one place to another, whether for work, education, safety, or personal reasons. Migration can be temporary or permanent. It can also be internal, yeah. It can also be international and can happen within a country or across borders. There are different types of there are different types of migrants. One, you have the internal migrants. These are people who move within the same country. So, for example, someone moving from Manchester in the United Kingdom to London in the United Kingdom for work. Another example, a student leaving their rural hometown to attend a university. Number two, international migrants. These are people who cross international borders. So let's say, for example, a doctor from India moving to Canada for a job. Another example is a family that is fleeing conflict in Ukraine, for example, and seeking asylum in the UK or the Europe. So that's some of the examples. So tell me, have you ever migrated within your own country? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. We also have the temporary and permanent migrants. These are other examples too. So some migrants stay in a new place temporarily. For example, students or seasonal workers. Others plan to stay for a long time, or eventually they then become immigrants. So the migrants then becomes immigrants when they stay for a longer time. Let's say, for example, a construction worker from Philippines working in Dubai for 5 years is a migrant, not necessarily an immigrant. Another example again that I would use is a software developer moving from India to Germany for work. I'm just trying to think of, so another example that I can also come up with is like I said earlier, a student moving from London to Manchester for university. So those are examples of migrants. So it can be within or external. It could also be a construction worker traveling from Mexico to the USA for a seasonal work. It could also be a person escaping a war zone to a neighboring country. Another example is also someone like a refugee who is escaping a war zone. So the key point to note is that not all migrants settle permanently. Some return back to their home country. So now let's move to immigrants. Who is an immigrant, you would ask? An immigrant is a type of migrant who moves to a new country with the intention of settling there permanently. Immigration typically, involves legal documentation, visas, it involves residency permits, it involves all of that. And it usually means that, one will be applying for residency, one will be living in the country for a long term, and potentially becoming a citizen of that country. So examples of who an immigrant is I'll think of, let's say, for example, a Nigerian lawyer who is moving to Canada and applying for permanent residency. Another example that I would use is a British couple retiring in Spain and staying there permanently. Another example that I would also give is a refugee that has been granted asylum in the UK, who then has later become a citizen. Yeah, so that's the difference. Another example, is also a family relocating to the US and becoming US citizens. Another example is also someone who is moving from Nigeria to Canada for permanent work. That is someone who will be on a work visa and who has the plans of staying and applying for residency. Another example is a family that is relocating from India to the UK and becoming a British citizen. So the key factors that are important to note here is that immigration often applies for residency and citizenship. And these people contribute to the new country that they've moved to. They contribute to the economy of the country, they contribute to the culture and also the workforce of the country. So let's talk about immigrants and expats. So immigration and expat, that is expatriates. Is there a difference, you would ask? Sometimes the term expats or expatriates is used instead of immigrants, but there's a difference between the two of them. So immigrants is often used for people moving from developing to a developed country, whereas expats or expatriates, as they're often called, usually refers to professionals who are moving abroad for work. These are people often from Western countries. Yeah. So does this mean that expats or expatriates and immigrants are the same thing? Well, I would say technically yes, but society often views them differently. But I would say they're two different. They're both the same, really. So if you've heard people use the word expats instead of immigrants, if you've heard, people use such words, just know that, they mean the same thing basically. So let's talk about the difference and also why it matters. I mean, why migrants and immigrants matter. They both matter in any country that they go to, and they impact legally and socially. The governments of such country often classify migrants and immigrants differently. Yeah, governments often, differentiate the two. They categorize the people differently they categorize them differently based on their status, really. So they categorize both migrants and immigrants differently. Immigration laws focuses on residency, employment rights, and citizenship. Whereas migrants may not have the same legal protections and the same rights as immigrants. All right? So, and also the policies for migrants and immigrants differ, especially in the legal terms, they differ. The real world policies and case studies, like let's say, like for example, the US green card system versus the temporary work visa. That's a good example. Another example is the UK's post-Brexit, immigration rules. I'll give an example of that. So an example of that is, I'll give a scenario. So I'll give a scenario of a migrant again. So let's say a student from Ghana moves to the UK to study for 3 years, is a migrant. When the student becomes an immigrant is when that same student applies for residency and stays permanently. Then the student is referred to as an immigrant. Why is it different? Why does it different matters really? It matters because migrants may need permanent visas. Immigration or immigrants must go through legal procedures like applying for residency or citizenship. So they're both two different terms for different people coming into a country, to settle or vice versa. And like I said earlier, migrants contribute to the economy of the country that they've moved to. They fill the labor gaps of the country. Immigration often integrates into or rather immigrants often integrate into society permanently and also help the economy, and economy of the country that they've moved to, really. So many people, I know that, it's a heated topic right now, and that's the reason why I'm bringing it. And many people fear, immigration due to misconceptions, So I'm also going to be talking about the misconceptions of who an immigrant is or who a migrant is, right? So my question is, do you think immigration policies are fair in your country or in the country that you've migrated to? Let's talk about that in the comment section. This is a heated topic right now, and I feel like this is the best time to talk about this topic. So let's move on to the common misconception. Let's move on to the common misconception between migrants and immigrants. Number one misconception is that migrants are all refugees. No. Migrants include students, workers, and travelers. Number two misconception is that immigrants don't contribute to the society. Oh my goodness. Actually, immigrants build economies by working, by paying their taxes, by starting businesses in the country that they have moved to. So, my take for everyone is that, next time someone says migrants or immigrants, I bet you would know exactly what they mean. So now that you understand the difference, which one applies to you? I know the one that applies to me. So let's discuss that in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Migrants, immigrants, what does it mean? So if this video has helped you today, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and also hit the notification bell for more tips like this that I'll be dishing out. All right? So I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.